Recording on.
So my name's Sangamani and I'm leading a fundraising appeal for the Karana Trust. And I'm here with Maxo, who's one of our fundraisers. So Karana, we've fundraised and raised money to help Dalit communities in India and Nepal. So at the moment in India, as you probably know, there's, India's in lockdown, and it's had a really dire impact on a lot of the communities that we usually support. So the Dalit communities, I think about 70% of them are what is known as daily wage labourers, which of course means that the money they earn every day is what they eat with. And since the lockdown, many people have been suffering because of lack of food, finding it very hard to get home. And yeah, so we've raised a campaign and we're trying to raise money, or we are raising money to respond to this urgent crisis that's happening. We've never known anything like it before. A lot of our project partners have never known anything like it before. So we're doing our best to raise as much money as we can to help these people. So Maxo, well, let's just say a bit what we're doing. This is a very unusual campaign. We normally are either in the Karana office or in an appeal house. And of course, we need to observe social distancing during the lockdown here. So you're all going through your own lockdowns, and we're calling from our own individual homes and using a digital meeting space to come together and support each other in our fundraising. So maybe, I know it's not been an easy time, and you've also had your own experience of the pandemic. Could you just say a little bit about that? What's been happening for you?
Sure. So, you know, fundraising for this particular cause is something that is just really interesting because everybody in the world can relate to COVID somehow. You know, it's not necessarily in the way that it's happening in India, but it's something that we've all been touched by. And, you know, for me, around the time leading up to the appeal, my aunt contracted coronavirus, and it was a really quick thing. Literally only a couple of days. She wasn't even hospitalized, and then she passed away. And so that was really, you know, an impactful thing. And then during the appeal itself, while we've been in the midst of this, two people that I was that were part of my, you know, my upbringing as a child, an elderly couple, they both contracted it, and one of them passed away from it, and you know, the other one was still in the hospital receiving care. And so for me, doing this appeal has been something that really just, I don't know, I knew coming into it that I wanted to make, you know, an effort, and I wanted to help for the same reason that anybody would. But when you're grieving and you're really sad, you kind of want to take some time for yourself, but it just feels ironic to let the virus itself that I'm trying to do something about with helping with this campaign take me away from it, because it's caused, you know, loss of life in my personal life. So it's a weird way to look at it, but it has really made what we're doing for me a lot more significant.
Yeah, and I've really seen that in you. You know, I think, you know, you've allowed your suffering to kind of open you and stay focused and want to do something and motivate you to help. So just before we finish, maybe you could just share, I mean, we've met so much generosity. It's been incredible. We were really unsure about fundraising at this time, but the effect has been so positive. So maybe you could just share what it's been like for you and a story of meeting generosity in one of our supporters.
Yeah, I mean, the generosity has been really incredible. The way that people are willing to just help, you know, a little bit if they can, you know, because they want to do something about this, has been really beautiful to see. And, you know, one story that I've told before was about a supporter who was giving for decades, I think about 30 plus years, which, you know, longer than I've been alive at least.
Yeah.
And I called him, and it turned out, we found out during the call that something happened maybe about 3 years ago, and his support had stopped. And basically he wanted to find a way to resolve that. And what he ended up saying was he wanted to reactivate his support, which was great. But then he said that he wanted to also increase his support, which was even better. And he could have stopped there, but he went along to say, I want to pay back all of the money that I had missed during that 3 years. And that just blew my mind. And the thing that's really significant about this, just in terms of the supporters overall, is that very type of call didn't happen to me once, it happened twice. So a woman had the exact same scenario and she did the exact same thing. And
Incredible.
That's the kind of generosity that I've been seeing from people.
Yeah. It's just incredible, and it's so uplifting, isn't it, when you meet that? And yeah, I mean, what would you say to people that haven't yet given and might be considering their response? Yeah, what would you say?
I would say everything that you do makes a difference. I think that people feel like if they can't give a certain amount, then there's a problem or it's not enough somehow. And I say to that, if I was the person, if you gave 5 quid and that 5 quid took care of a meal for maybe one person, and if I was that person, I wouldn't be thinking this person hasn't made a difference. I'd be thinking, oh my God, I have food to eat today. What a miracle. And somebody could do that just by supporting.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks so much, Maxo, for what you've given. And yeah, lovely to hear from you.
Thanks, Sangamani.
Bye-bye.